looking back over the past 5 decades. The year 1967, the Bahamas experienced majority rule. Also significant in the year 1967 was the organization of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church. Early beginnings. A young man from Pinefield, Acklands, the 12th child of 14, Elkin Alexander Simonette was born to Sarah Johnson and Lorenzo Simonette. His daily routine involved trips to Fresh Key, where cascarilla bark was in abundance. The residents of the settlements came together and worked hard in the scorching sun, only shaded by the straw hats made from touch palms. During rest periods, Elkin would entertain the workers by preaching in jest. It was laughter and amusement at that time, but little did they know that they were his first parishioners. There was a call of God to the gospel ministry on Elkin's life. Times were hard, and to make life better for themselves, many of the Acklands Islanders migrated to Nassau, where there were better economic opportunities. Elkin's mother, Sarah Johnson, wanting the best for her son, prepared him for travel to Nassau on the mailboat. A 4-day journey leaving Acklands. He recalled his mother giving him a New Testament. Elkin took up residence on Andrews Avenue in Nassau, near to his friend King Williamson. Arlington King was standing at the entrance of the tent and invited them to come in and join the service. Elkin initially refused, but after some persistence, he went in. The preaching was powerful, and conviction overshadowed him as the Spirit moved in a powerful way. Elkin found himself wallowing in the sand as he gave his life to the Lord. Brother Arlington King was instrumental in leading Elkin to the Lord. Shortly after, both King Williamson and Elkin became members of St. Peter's Baptist Church, where the Spirit of God moved in a miraculous way. The church brethren then fellowshipped, prayed, ate together, played the guitar, and sang praises to God. God was indeed with them. The church was not only a prayer house, but housed the community during a great storm, as Mother Hilda Sargent recalled. Mother Inez Simonette can vividly remember when her husband told her that God had called him to do a work, and the time was ripe to begin the ministry. She recalled being tearful as preparation was made to leave the great St. Peter's Baptist Church. At that time, the young couple had 4 daughters, Melvin, Patricia, Deborah, and Melvern. And being the submissive wife that she was, she replied, "If God called you, then I have to go." The call. In 1966, God called Brother Elkin to evangelize and spread the gospel throughout the nation. He went to his pastor, Reverend Eugene Butler, to share the vision God had given him. It was a difficult and hard moment for both men. Pastor Butler questioned the called and was initially reluctant to release him. A letter was then written to Reverend Dr. R.E. Cooper Sr., who headed the council. After some deliberations, Pastor Simonette was given the blessing of the council. Pastor Simonet announced plans to start a ministry, heeding God's call. A few of the brethren, including their families, willingly went with Brother Simonet, including Brother Carol Roll, Brother Leroy Riley, Brother Stanmitz Butler, Brother Randolph Benaby, and Brother Clifford McKinney. Brother King Williamson joined sometime later. Pastor Eugene Butler played an integral part in the development of Ebenezer, leading councils and ordinations and participating in the pastors' and church anniversaries. Indeed, God had established the work, and whatever God does is well done. A time for family. Inez Hepburn, a Christian young lady at the time, lived on Andrews Avenue with her mother and 3 siblings. She also attended St. Peter's Baptist Church. Elkin asked her mother Florence Roll Hepburn for her daughter's hand in marriage. They were married the 17th of January, 1960, and in December of that same year, they celebrated the birth of their first child, Melvin. By 1971, Inez had given birth to 9 children. Naming an organization of Ebenezer. Pastor Elkin Simonet was one who always sought God for direction. Brother Arlington King and Brother Simonet found a spot to pray on Blue Hill Road. They sought God every Saturday morning. They called this their secret tabernacle. One morning, while praying, God gave Brother Simonet the name Ebenezer. This name is deduced from the scripture 1 Samuel 7, verse 12. Then Samuel took a stone and set it between Mizpah and Shen, and called the name Ebenezer, saying, "Hitherto had the Lord helped us." The founding brethren met and began searching for a building. Brother Leroy Riley found a small wooden structure on Balfour Avenue and Minnie Street. The building was unoccupied. They sought out the owner, who graciously consented for them to rent the building. Reverend Benaby recalled them meeting on a Friday afternoon to renovate the building. Mother Inez Simonet remembered the Sunday before the first service was held. The brethren got together to pray. They formed a circle, held hands, and had their first prayer session. Ebenezer was truly established on prayer. Mother Simonet was adorned in her white dress, as it was Women's Day at St. Peter's. She wanted to attend that service, but instead, she heeded to her husband's request and joined the brethren in prayer. The following Sunday, March 26, 1967, the doors of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church were opened. The commissioning. The commissioning service was held in September 1967, and Pastor Elkin Simonet was installed as pastor. The late Reverend Dr. R.E. Cooper, Senior President of the Bahamas National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention, presided. He was assisted by Reverend Dr. A. Samuel Colebrook, who was the Vice President of the Baptist Convention at that time. Pastor Simonet made a commitment and joined the Bahamas National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention. Later, Ebenezer became a part of the Morning Star Baptist Association, which was led by the late Reverend Dr. A. Samuel Colebrook. A time for growth. Within the first 2 years on Minnie Street, the entire Anglican community was touched, and residents from almost every corner became members and followers of Ebenezer. A loudspeaker was placed on the rooftop of the church, and the powerful preached word of God drew the people. Members can vividly remember many of the powerful messages where people were saved, healed, and delivered. The Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church was built by families. Coming from Jenny Street was Genius and Cleome Stubbs and family. From Ida Street was Sister Llewellyn and Jane Roll and family. From Morley Street were Barbara Ferguson and family. From Minnie Street were Marietta Moss and family, the Clark sisters and family, Ivy Mackey and family, and Sister Almeida Stubbs and family. From Washington Street were Jane Curry and family, Robert Strawn and family, Sheila Corley Darling and family, Errol and Winifred Bain and family, Pauline Ferguson and family, Alice Ferguson and family, Joy Bain Bell and family. And from Bedolio Street were Freeman McPhee and family, the Greenslade family, and Lucille Williams and family from QS Street. Lurleen and Barbara Johnson and family came from Wilson Track. Ina Mae Wright and family from Palmetto Avenue. Families also came from the western side of East Street into Coconut Grove. Coming from Watland Street was Alexander and Hilda Sargent and family, Frida Hart and family, Prenell Taylor and family, Vernice Bain and family, Bernice Bostwick and family, and Brother and Sister Pratt and family. Clifford McKinney and family came from Ackland Street. King Williamson came from Exuma Street, while Wellington Bastian and family came from First Street, The Grove. Mary Taylor and family, Christina Roll and family, along with Helen Miller and family came from Market Street, The Grove. From Montel Heights, we had Florence Roll and family, Maxine Brown and family, Daisy Hepburn and family, Victoria Thompson and family, and Christine Thompson and family. From Ridgeland Park came Pastor Elkin Simonet and family, Sandra Bain and family, Ozell Miller and family, Randolph Benaby and family, and the list goes on. There were some families that lived on the outskirts of the island, such as Answell DeCoster and Solomon Miller of Churchill Subdivision. The Nortages from Nassau Village, Danville Ferguson and family from Bimini Avenue, and Sister Farquharson from Foxdale, and Levita Roll and family from Carmichael Road. They came from east, west, north, and south to fellowship at the Brown and White Church in Angliston, where the Spirit of the Lord was present. These families invited their extended families and neighbors to attend. The word of God drew the people. The word of mouth was our means of advertisement. Everyone we came into contact with, we invited them to our church. Later on, our many concerts drew people to us. Evangelism and outreach. Our organizing pastor began his ministry on the streets of New Providence, preaching the word of God on street corners. Bishop Albert Helburn recalls that it was he and Pastor Simonet who brought in the first evangelist to hold a revival on Windsor Park, Wolf Road. Early in the life of the church, Pastor Simonet held revivals where he preached the unadulterated word of God with power. Many souls were saved. As time went on, other preachers came and conducted revival services, including Brother Thaddeus Johnson, a member of Church of God, but an avid supporter to the ministry. He too was drawn to Ebenezer by the anointed preaching, being a resident of Balfour Avenue. The theme throughout every message was, how shall you escape if you neglect to get a salvation? Evangelist Benjamin Pratt was one of the revival preachers who truly was instrumental in reviving the saints. Other preachers were invited from overseas, including Brother Barron, Brother Gilliam, and Thomas Riot from Fort Pierce, Florida. Revivals were held twice a year. New Year's revival was held in January, just before the Baptist Crusade, and summer revival was held for young people. The revivals were so anointed that after 1 week, sometimes continued into 3 weeks. Many times the visiting preachers extended their stay. The power of God was manifested in a real way. Reverend Matthias Monroe, the father of the late Dr. Miles Monroe, was always and still is considered an honorary member of Ebenezer. Every month, the late Pastor Simonet invited him to preach during our Sunday services. During the anniversary celebrations, as Pastor Simonet, he often invited Reverend Dr. James Cardwell and Reverend Dr. J.D. Montgomery and Pastor James Henry from Detroit, Michigan, to preach. Ebenezer, being a mission-minded church, supported many members as they traveled on mission. The youth choir was led by the late Freeman McPhee, traveled to the United States of America, including Belgrade, Florida, and Detroit, Michigan. Led by Evangelist Patricia Simonet, the choir went on mission trips to many family islands, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom. Mission trips were led by Clarabelle Williams, Marietta Moss, and Judy DeVoe. They were powerful outreach ministries as they covered the young people in prayer and stirred them in the right direction as the Lord used them mightily. Today, evangelism and mission work continues to dominate the ministry. Presently, we have a ministry at the All Saints Camp where the evangelism ministry goes once a month to hold services with the residents. Ebenezer is also a part of the prison ministry. Once a month, old-fashioned street services are held throughout the island, and the Lord mandates exactly where to go and what message to carry. Today, we are still knocking on doors within and without the Evangelistic community, sharing the gospel and distributing tracts. We have a hospital ministry where members go from bed to bed praying for the sick. The soup kitchen ministry that was established by the late Clarabelle Williams and supported by her family is held the last Saturday of every month. After the demise of Sister Williams, her assistant Pearline Fraser superheaded the soup kitchen ministry. One of the goals was to feed and clothe the less fortunate in the Evangelistic community. Brother Enoch Hanna, an avid supporter of the soup kitchen ministry, has cooked over these many years and continues to cook today as a volunteer and contributor. Programs. As a growing church, fundraising was vital. We held annual Christmas and Easter programs and special Old Island programs where we invited other members of the community. After every item, attendees would throw monies. This fundraising was entertaining and financially rewarding. The fundraising did not stop there, but every ministry of the church had a financial obligation to raise funds for the church, and most seems to do so with a program to climax their anniversary. The people had a mind to work. The young people went out on Saturdays with brown envelopes on the streets to solicit financial assistance for the church's building fund and choir mission trips. The communities responded well. The women and young people of the church held supper sales on Saturdays under the almond tree in front of Miller's grocery store, and later at Sister Annie Williams' residence on Cotto Avenue. The Sunday school also held fundraisers during their Recognition Day celebrations. Additionally, the entire church paraded through the streets of Evangelistic to music of the Royal Ambassadors Band. History recalls that two of the largest fundraising ministries, Usher Board and the Youth Choir. As the church grew, the youth choir ministry also grew. The youth choir was the first youth choir to hold a concert at the Le Cabaret Theater on Paradise Island. The overwhelming response from the audience ignited as people talked about their experience. It was one of our youth choir anniversaries when the then leader, Patricia Simonet, saw the need for choir to fast and pray for a blessing for the anniversary. A Saturday early morning prayer meeting was called where mothers of the church, including Clarabelle Williams, Lenora Knowles, Julie DeVoe, and Elnora Dowling joined us. This was pivotal for the beginning of revival for the young people. The young people continued to meet and pray every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. for prayer and still meets today. Mother Clarabelle Williams always reminded the prayer group when they were late, they would miss the 5 o'clock angels. The Ebenezer radio program, Channel of Blessing, was launched by our organizing pastor and was aired every Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. on ZNS 1240. Persons from the Family Islands, New Providence, including inmates from the prison, shared testimonies of how the radio program was indicative of his name, truly a blessing to them. The Ebenezer Preschool was an integral part of the church's organization. Mother Simonet served in the capacity of head teacher. Children enrolled from throughout New Providence, and many of the graduates became members of the church. The expansion. The Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church is far more than a congregation that fellowships together. Ebenezer is truly an organization in every sense of the word. It associates, it groups, it institutes, and it ignites. Write the vision, make it plain, that the people will understand and run with it. Bishop Simonet had truly set the course up for this organization. The opening of Nativity Baptist Church was part of the vision. Establishment of the Glad Tidings Baptist Church was part of the vision. The establishment of the Ebenezer Burial Society was part of the vision. The establishment of the Ebenezer Consortium of Churches was part of the vision. Pastor Simonet had a heart for smaller congregations. He would automatically take them under his wings and render assistance in any way he could. There were many churches that he paid the rent for continuously to ensure that the doors remained opened. He had a special place in his heart for our Haitian brethren, and they too benefited from his support spiritually and financially. Pastor Simonet had a special place in his heart for the Ebenezer Fellowship of Churches, which was initially called the Ebenezer Consortium of Churches. Pastors and churches that became a part of the fellowship were Trinity Full Gospel Baptist Church, Peniel Kingdom Ministries, Glad Tidings Baptist Church, the New Mount Pisgah Trinity Baptist Church, Count Sound Andres, Fellowship Baptist Church, Carmichael Road, Freedom Temple, Miami, Florida, Solid Ground Baptist Church, St. Luke's Baptist Church, Pinefield, Acklands, Maranatha Baptist Church, Whosoever Will Ministries, Reaping the Harvest Ministries, and St. Temple Baptist Church. On the 22nd of May 2008, at his third annual convention of the Ebenezer Fellowship of Churches, Pastor Simonet was consecrated to the office of bishop by His Grace, Bishop Neil C. Ellis, along with other clergymen. Opportunities for worship. Initially, service was held twice on Sundays, 11 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Monday night was prayer meeting. Tuesday night was young people's meeting. Wednesday night, midweek worship. Friday night was senior choir practice. Saturday was girls auxiliary and royal ambassadors. And later on in the ministry, the soup kitchen began. Saturday nights were men fellowship. marriage club meetings, and usher board meetings. On Sundays was early morning prayer at 6 a.m., Sunday school, and 11 a.m. divine worship. Baptist training hour, which was replaced with youth choir practice on Sunday, night service at 7:30. As time went on, the late Bishop Simonette saw the need to begin an early morning service to accommodate members who had to work on Sundays and to give upcoming and aspiring preachers a time to preach. This was initially called the 7:30 a.m. service. This service is now called the Morning Encounter. On the first and last Sunday evenings of each month, a special press service travail is held for 1 hour. Expansion. Since relocating to St. Charles Vincent Street, the church has had 4 expansions to its physical structure. The remodeling of the pulpit area began in October 1982 and completed in February 1983. The extension of the fellowship hall occurred twice, and upstairs facilities, the extension of the main sanctuary. The properties to the west and south of the church were acquired for parking. The church also acquired the property east of the sanctuary for parking. To date, the church has ordained 31 ministers, 13 evangelists, 1 prophetess, and 28 deacons. We say to God be the glory. The transition. After 44 years of leading Ebenezer, Bishop Elkin Alexander Simonette retired as lead pastor on the 9th of October 2011 and installed Michael John Simonette as pastor. Bishop Simonette was obedient to the command of God given by Mother Evans before she died. She prophetically declared that Michael Simonette, who was only a babe at the time, would be the next pastor of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church. 6 months later, on the 25th of April 2012, the Lord saw fit to call Bishop Simonette home to glory. The words of Jeremiah 1 verse 5 are quite fitting. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee. Pastor Mike, as he is affectionately called, is also a visionary, whom the Lord called from his mother's womb. Pastor Mike's leadership builds on the successes of his predecessor. He continues to teach and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. A part of his vision is for individuals to be successful in their prayer life, in their finances, and live a life of increased faith. One of the church's annual themes introduced by Pastor Mike is Raise the Standard. His plans for the ministry is to facilitate an all-encompassing children's ministry, a home for the elderly, and a television ministry. Under Pastor Mike's leadership, we have realized many successes, such as a new air conditioning system, jumbo screens for the sanctuary, a new camera system, upgraded audio-visual equipment, new microphones, the refurbishment of the fellowship hall, including the exterior. Today, we mark 50 years of trials and triumphs, but God has been good. It is indeed an occasion for celebration. Jubilee is here, and Ebenezer has embraced it. We are celebrating a wealthy heritage, an evolving present, and a very bright future. Happy birthday, Ebenezer. Looking back over the past 5 decades. The year 1967, the Bahamas experienced majority rule. Also significant in the year 1967 was the organization of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church. Early beginnings. A young man from Pinefield, Acklands, the 12th child of 14, Elkin Alexander Simonette was born to Sarah Johnson and Lorenzo Simonette. His daily routine involved trips to Fresh Key, where cascarilla bark was in abundance. The residents of the settlements came together and worked hard in the scorching sun, only shaded by the straw hats made from thatched palms. During rest periods, Elkin would entertain the workers by preaching in jest. It was laughter and amusement at that time, but little did they know that they were his first parishioners. There was a call of God to the gospel ministry on Elkin's life. Times were hard, and to make life better for themselves, many of the Acklands Islanders migrated to Nassau, where there were better economic opportunities. Elkin's mother, Sarah Johnson, wanting the best for her son, prepared him for travel to Nassau on the mailboat, a 4-day journey leaving Acklands. He recalled his mother giving him a New Testament. Elkin took up residence on Andrews Avenue in Nassau, near to his friend King Williamson. Arlington King was standing at the entrance of the tent and invited them to come in and join the service. Elkin initially refused, but after some persistence, he went in. The preaching was powerful, and conviction overshadowed him as the Spirit moved in a powerful way. Elkin found himself wallowing in the sand as he gave his life to the Lord. Brother Arlington King was instrumental in leading Elkin to the Lord. Shortly after, both King Williamson and Elkin became members of St. Peter's Baptist Church, where the Spirit of God moved in a miraculous way. The church brethren then fellowshipped, prayed, ate together, played the guitar, and sang praises to God. God was indeed with them. The church was not only a prayer house, but housed the community during a great storm, as Mother Hilda Sargent recalled. Mother Inez Simonette can vividly remember when her husband told her that God had called him to do a work, and the time was ripe to begin the ministry. She recalled being tearful as preparation was made to leave the great St. Peter's Baptist Church. At that time, the young couple had 4 daughters, Melvin, Patricia, Deborah, and Melvern. And being the submissive wife that she was, she replied, "If God called you, then I have to go." The call. In 1966, God called Brother Elkin to evangelize and spread the gospel throughout the nation. He went to his pastor, Reverend Eugene Butler, to share the vision God had given him. It was a difficult and hard moment for both men. Pastor Butler questioned the called and was initially reluctant to release him. A letter was then written to Reverend Dr. R.E. Cooper Sr., who headed the council. After some deliberations, Pastor Simonette was given the blessing of the council. Pastor Simonette announced plans to start a ministry, heeding God's call. A few of the brethren, including their families, willingly went with Brother Simonette, including Brother Carol Roll, Brother Leroy Riley, Brother Stanmitz Butler, Brother Randolph Benaby, and Brother Clifford McKinney. Brother King Williamson joined sometime later. Pastor Eugene Butler played an integral part in the development of Ebenezer, leading councils and ordinations and participating in the pastors' and church anniversaries. Indeed, God has established the work, and whatever God does is well done. A time for family. Inez Hepburn, a Christian young lady at the time, lived on Andrews Avenue with her mother and 3 siblings. She also attended St. Peter's Baptist Church. Elkin asked her mother Florence Roll Hepburn for her daughter's hand in marriage. They were married the 17th of January, 1960, and in December of that same year, they celebrated the birth of their first child, Melvin. By 1971, Inez had given birth to 9 children. Naming an organization of Ebenezer. Pastor Elkin Simonette was one who always sought God for direction. Brother Arlington King and Brother Simonette found a spot to pray on Blue Hill Road. They sought God every Saturday morning. They called this their secret tabernacle. One morning, while praying, God gave Brother Simonette the name Ebenezer. This name is deduced from the scripture 1 Samuel 7, verse 12. Then Samuel took a stone and set it between Mizpah and Shen, and called the name Ebenezer, saying, "Hitherto had the Lord helped us." The founding brethren met and began searching for a building. Brother Leroy Riley found a small wooden structure on Balfour Avenue and Minnie Street. The building was unoccupied. They sought out the owner, who graciously consented for them to rent the building. Reverend Benaby recalled them meeting on a Friday afternoon to renovate the building. Mother Inez Simonette remembered the Sunday before the first service was held. The brethren got together to pray. They formed a circle, held hands, and had their first prayer session. Ebenezer was truly established on prayer. Mother Simonette was adorned in her white dress, as it was Women's Day at St. Peter's. She wanted to attend that service, but instead, she heeded to her husband's request and joined the brethren in prayer. The following Sunday, March 26, 1967, the doors of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church were opened. The commissioning. The commissioning service was held in September 1967, and Pastor Elkin Simonette was installed as pastor. The late Reverend Dr. R.E. Cooper, Senior President of the Bahamas National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention, presided. He was assisted by Reverend Dr. A. Samuel Colebrook, who was the Vice President of the Baptist Convention at that time. Pastor Simonette made a commitment and joined the Bahamas National Baptist Missionary and Educational Convention. Later, Ebenezer became a part of the Morning Star Baptist Association, which was led by the late Reverend Dr. A. Samuel Colebrook. A time for growth. Within the first 2 years on Minnie Street, the entire Anglican community was touched, and residents from almost every corner became members and followers of Ebenezer. A loudspeaker was placed on the rooftop of the church, and the powerful preached word of God drew the people. Members can vividly remember many of the powerful messages where people were saved, healed, and delivered. The Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church was built by families. Coming from Jenny Street was Genius and Cleome Stubbs and family. From Ida Street was Sister Luella and Jane Roll and family. From Wally Street were Barbara Ferguson and family. From Minnie Street were Marietta Moss and family. The Clark sisters and family. Ivy Mackey and family. And Sister Almeida Stubbs and family. From Washington Street were Jane Curry and family. Robert Strawn and family. Sheila Corley Darling and family. Errol and Winifred Bain and family. Pauline Ferguson and family. Alice Ferguson and family. Joy Bain Bell and family. And from Pododio Street were Freeman McPhee and family. The Greenslade family and Lucille Williams and family. From QS Street. Lurleen and Barbara Johnson and family came from Wilson Track. Ina Mae Wright and family from Palmetto Avenue. Families also came from the western side of East Street into Coconut Grove. Coming from Watland Street was Alexander and Hilda Sargent and family, Frida Hart and family, Prenell Taylor and family, Bernice Bain and family, Bernice Bostwick and family, and Brother and Sister Pratt and family. Clifford McKinney and family came from Ackland Street. King Williamson came from Exuma Street, while Wellington Bastian and family came from First Street, The Grove. Mary Taylor and family, Christina Roll and family, along with Helen Miller and family came from Market Street, The Grove. From Montel Heights, we had Florence Roll and family, Maxine Brown and family, Daisy Hepburn and family, Victoria Thompson and family, and Christine Thompson and family. From Ridgeland Park came Pastor Elkin Simonette and family, Sandra Bain and family, Ozell Miller and family, Randolph Benaby and family, and the list goes on. There were some families that lived on the outskirts of the island, such as Answell DeCoster and Solomon Miller of Churchill Subdivision. The Norwiches from Nassau Village, Danville Ferguson and family from Bimini Avenue, and Sister Farquharson from Foxdale, and Levita Roll and family from Carmichael Road. They came from east, west, north, and south to fellowship at the Brown and White Church in Angliston, where the Spirit of the Lord was present. These families invited their extended families and neighbors to attend. The word of God drew the people. The word of mouth was our means of advertisement. Everyone we came into contact with, we invited them to our church. Later on, our many concerts drew people to us. Evangelism and outreach. Our organizing pastor began his ministry on the streets of New Providence, preaching the word of God on street corners. Bishop Albert Helburn recalls that it was he and Pastor Simonette who brought in the first evangelist to hold a revival on Windsor Park, Wolf Road. Early in the life of the church, Pastor Simonette held revivals where he preached the unadulterated word of God with power. Many souls were saved. As time went on, other preachers came and conducted revival services, including Brother Thaddeus Johnson, a member of Church of God, but an avid supporter to the ministry. He too was drawn to Ebenezer by the anointed preaching, being a resident of Balfour Avenue. The theme throughout every message was, how shall you escape if you neglect to get a salvation? Evangelist Benjamin Pratt was one of the revival preachers who truly was instrumental in reviving the saints. Other preachers were invited from overseas, including Brother Barron, Brother Gilliam, and Thomas Riot from Fort Pierce, Florida. Revivals were held twice a year. New Year's revival was held in January, just before the Baptist Crusade, and summer revival was held for young people. The revivals were so anointed that after 1 week, sometimes continued into 3 weeks. Many times the visiting preachers extended their stay. The power of God was manifested in a real way. Reverend Matthias Monroe, the father of the late Dr. Miles Monroe, was always and still is considered an honorary member of Ebenezer. Every month, the late Pastor Simonette invited him to preach during our Sunday services. During the anniversary celebrations, as Pastor Simonette, he often invited Reverend Dr. James Cardwell and Reverend Dr. J.D. Montgomery and Pastor James Henry from Detroit, Michigan, to preach. Ebenezer, being a mission-minded church, supported many members as they traveled on mission. The youth choir was led by the late Freeman McPhee, traveled to the United States of America, including Belgrade, Florida, and Detroit, Michigan. Led by Evangelist Patricia Simonette, the choir went on mission trips to many family islands, the United States of America, and the United Kingdom. Mission trips were led by Clarabelle Williams, Marietta Moss, and Julie DeVoe. They were powerful outreach ministries as they covered the young people in prayer and stirred them in the right direction as the Lord used them mightily. Today, evangelism and mission work continues to dominate the ministry. Presently, we have a ministry at the All Saints Camp where the evangelism ministry goes once a month to hold services with the residents. Ebenezer is also a part of the prison ministry. Once a month, old-fashioned street services are held throughout the island, and the Lord mandates exactly where to go and what message to carry. Today, we are still knocking on doors within and without the Evangelistic community, sharing the gospel and distributing tracts. We have a hospital ministry where members go from bed to bed praying for the sick. The soup kitchen ministry that was established by the late Clarabelle Williams and supported by her family is held the last Saturday of every month. After the demise of Sister Williams, her assistant Pearline Fraser superheaded the soup kitchen ministry. One of the goals was to feed and clothe the less fortunate in the Evangelistic community. Brother Enoch Hanna, an avid supporter of the soup kitchen ministry, has cooked over these many years and continues to cook today as a volunteer and contributor. Programs. As a growing church, fundraising was vital. We held annual Christmas and Easter programs and special Old Island programs where we invited other members of the community. After every item, attendees would throw monies. This fundraising was entertaining and financially rewarding. The fundraising did not stop there, but every ministry of the church had a financial obligation to raise funds for the church, and most seems to do so with a program to climax their anniversary. The people had a mind to work. The young people went out on Saturdays with brown envelopes on the streets to solicit financial assistance for the church's building fund and choir mission trips. The communities responded well. The women and young people of the church held supper sales on Saturdays under the almond tree in front of Miller's grocery store, and later at Sister Annie Williams' residence on Cotto Avenue. The Sunday school also held fundraisers during their Recognition Day celebrations. Additionally, the entire church paraded through the streets of Evangelistic to music of the Royal Ambassadors Band. History recalls that two of the largest fundraising ministries, Usher Board and the Youth Choir. As the church grew, the youth choir ministry also grew. The youth choir was the first youth choir to hold a concert at the Le Cabaret Theater on Paradise Island. The overwhelming response from the audience ignited as people talked about their experience. It was one of our youth choir anniversaries when the then leader, Patricia Simonet, saw the need for choir to fast and pray for a blessing for the anniversary. A Saturday early morning prayer meeting was called where mothers of the church, including Clara Bell Williams, Lenora Knowles, Judy DeVoe, and Elnora Darling joined us. This was pivotal for the beginning of revival for the young people. The young people continued to meet and pray every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. for prayer and still meets today. Mother Clara Bell Williams always reminded the prayer group when they were late, they would miss the 5 o'clock angels. The Ebenezer radio program, Channel of Blessing, was launched by our organizing pastor and was aired every Sunday morning at 6:30 a.m. on ZNS 1240. Persons from the Family Islands, New Providence, including inmates from the prison, shared testimonies of how the radio program was indicative of his name. Truly a blessing to them. The Ebenezer Preschool was an integral part of the church's organization. Mother Simonet served in the capacity of head teacher. Children enrolled from throughout New Providence, and many of the graduates became members of the church. The expansion. The Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church is far more than a congregation that fellowships together. Ebenezer is truly an organization in every sense of the word. It associates, it groups, it institutes, and it ignites. Write the vision, make it plain, that the people will understand and run with it. Bishop Simonet had truly set the course up for this organization. The opening of Sentivity Baptist Church was part of the vision. Establishment of the Glad Tidings Baptist Church was part of the vision. The establishment of the Ebenezer Burial Society was part of the vision. The establishment of the Ebenezer Consortium of Churches was part of the vision. Pastor Simonet had a heart for smaller congregations. He would automatically take them under his wings and render assistance in any way he could. There were many churches that he paid the rent for continuously to ensure that the doors remained opened. He had a special place in his heart for our Haitian brethren, and they too benefited from his support spiritually and financially. Pastor Simonet had a special place in his heart for the Ebenezer Fellowship of Churches, which was initially called the Ebenezer Consortium of Churches. Pastors and churches that became a part of the fellowship were Trinity Full Gospel Baptist Church, Peniel Kingdom Ministries, Glad Tidings Baptist Church, the New Mount Pisgah Trinity Baptist Church, Count Sound Andres, Fellowship Baptist Church, Carmichael Road, Freedom Temple, Miami, Florida, Solid Ground Baptist Church, St. Luke's Baptist Church, Pinefield, Acklands, Maranatha Baptist Church, Whosoever Will Ministries, Reaping the Harvest Ministries, and St. Temple Baptist Church. On the 22nd of May 2008, at his third annual convention of the Ebenezer Fellowship of Churches, Pastor Simonet was consecrated to the office of bishop by His Grace, Bishop Neil C. Ellis, along with other clergymen. Opportunities for worship. Initially, service was held twice on Sundays, 11 a.m. and 7:30 p.m. Monday night was prayer meeting. Tuesday night was young people's meeting. Wednesday night, midweek worship. Friday night was senior choir practice. Saturday was girls auxiliary and royal ambassadors. And later on in the ministry, the soup kitchen began. Saturday nights were men fellowship, marriage club meetings, and usher board meetings. On Sundays was early morning prayer at 6 a.m., Sunday school, and 11 a.m. divine worship. Baptist training hour, which was replaced with youth choir practice on Sunday. night service at 7:30. As time went on, the late Bishop Simonet saw the need to begin an early morning service to accommodate members who had to work on Sundays and to give upcoming and aspiring preachers a time to preach. This was initially called the 7:30 a.m. service. This service is now called the Morning Encounter. On the first and last Sunday evenings of each month, a special press service travail is held for 1 hour. Expansion. Since relocating to St. Charles Vincent Street, the church has had 4 expansions to its physical structure. The remodeling of the pulpit area began in October 1982 and completed in February 1983. The extension of the fellowship hall occurred twice, and upstairs facilities, the extension of the main sanctuary. The properties to the west and south of the church were acquired for parking. The church also acquired the property east of the sanctuary for parking. To date, the church has ordained 31 ministers, 13 evangelists, 1 prophetess, and 28 deacons. We say to God be the glory. The transition. After 44 years of leading Ebenezer, Bishop Elkin Alexander Simonet retired as lead pastor on the 9th of October 2011 and installed Michael John Simonet as pastor. Bishop Simonet was obedient to the command of God given by Mother Evans before she died. She prophetically declared that Michael Simonet, who was only a babe at the time, would be the next pastor of the Ebenezer Mission Baptist Evangelistic Church. 6 months later, on the 25th of April 2012, the Lord saw fit to call Bishop Simonet home to glory. The words of Jeremiah 1 verse 5 are quite fitting. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee and ordained thee. Pastor Mike, as he is affectionately called, is also a visionary, whom the Lord called from his mother's womb. Pastor Mike's leadership builds on the successes of his predecessor. He continues to teach and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. A part of his vision is for individuals to be successful in their prayer life, in their finances, and live a life of increased faith. One of the church's annual themes introduced by Pastor Mike is Raise the Standard. His plans for the ministry is to facilitate an all-encompassing children's ministry, a home for the elderly, and a television ministry. Under Pastor Mike's leadership, we have realized many successes, such as a new air conditioning system, jumbo screens for the sanctuary, a new camera system, upgraded audio-visual equipment, new microphones, the refurbishment of the fellowship hall, including the exterior. Today, we mark 50 years of trials and triumphs, but God has been good. It is indeed an occasion for celebration. Jubilee is here, and Ebenezer has embraced it. We are celebrating a wealthy heritage, an evolving present, and a very bright future. Happy birthday, Ebenezer.